Everyday robots just touch fun.
The world's just so different as far as how music is communicated. I mean, I struggle to keep up with really the endless changing in formats. Radios now, television, streaming is the thing that where you get the numbers, and physical music purchase seems to sort of died. I think the only kind of sort of really hits I've had have been accidental. They did a worldwide kind of competition to do an interactive video. I think what's the point of it is that they're exploring new technology. It's not the video that I'm making for the song. It's strictly to do with the film festival. So the whole video is generated from the ZBrush program, which is a facial reconstruction program. They find a Neolithic or Mesolithic skull, and they want to kind of see what that person looked like. They use ZBrush. I love making really easy videos. In fact, I think once we'd done the first Gorillas video, that was me kind of out of the picture, really, actually being in the videos. And this one was the easiest yet, because they just scanned me with this machine. When I look back on the Gorillas videos, cost like £250,000, so it's like $450,000 per video. And now I can make 10 videos for £500. For the second song that we put out, Lonely Press Play, was entirely made on my iPad, and I'm doing another one at the moment for Heavy Seas of Love. It's very cheap, and it's a very personal kind of, way of lending my sort of visual diary to my music. So it works perfectly. The record sales are diminishing, but also the costs to make it production are as well. So I suppose the whole thing theoretically balances itself out. A lot of field recordings. If you have an interest in sound, I think it's what you do, isn't it? I mean, on one of the songs, Hollow Ponds, I use the sound of a very high altitude plane flying over. It's actually quite musical, because it starts at one end of the horizon, and then slowly, as it travels over, it chromatically moves down the scale. So in that 2-minute loop, you've got something which you can interpret musically. So yeah, I mean, there's music everywhere. I mean, a city like New York is like every day is a symphony. This is part of Tanzania called Mkomazi, which I suppose, if you were kind of give it a relative size, it would be the size of a bit smaller than New York State. You can only get there by plane, so they've got a very long but primitive airfield. And this little baby elephant, which had been orphaned, its mother had been killed by poachers, turned up one evening on this runway, and they took it in, and they've been looking after him ever since then. And I met him when he'd been there for about 2 weeks. Beautiful but tragic little creature. He's a success story for their program, because he's now 2.5 years old. But that song was my response to meeting him, and I played it to him, I recorded it and played it to him there. And this story about he was listening to me play, and then he just sort of looked at me and it squared me up in the eye, and then shat himself, which wasn't the response I was hoping for, but nonetheless. He's been raised by these rangers, are very religious and love listening to gospel radio. So he's been brought up listening to gospel music. I went back to the gospel church at the end of my road in Leytonstone in East London, and I contacted them, and they sang on that song. So the idea was that this baby elephant loves gospel, so maybe he'd respond in a better way to the song once it had been recorded, if it had a gospel feel to it. That's the story of Mr. Tembo. The worst response I've ever had was when I was recording at a legendary venue in Lagos, called the Shrine, and I was actually on stage with Gruff from Super Furry Animals, and he was singing this acoustic song in Welsh. First a bottle was thrown, and then a few more bottles, and then a chair, and then a table, at which point someone ran on stage and said, I think it's time you stopped, otherwise you're going to get killed. So that was probably the worst reaction. My band, Heavy Seas, they're a mix of people I've kind of played with. One guy I played with for 20 years, another guy I started playing with when we did the last Gorillas tour of the States, called Jeff Wooten. And the other two are brilliant musicians that I've kind of sort of met through doing Africa Express. Yeah, it's a very young band. I mean, the three of them are 25. It's only Mike and me who are in our mid-40s. So we have to, hence the suit, of trying to sort of smarten my act up a bit, and because they're very cool. I'm trying to be as cool as them. I can't compete with them, to be honest with you, but I can at least make an effort. Hello, I'm Damon Albarn. Please look for me on Last.fm.